everyone. Father Jack here again. As you probably know, on Monday, Governor Baker began phase one of reopening the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and included in this first phase are all houses of worship. Late last night, we were given a very detailed and strict set of criteria that must be in place before we can open and resume our celebration of the Mass together. And we must show evidence that all of these things are in place before we receive permission from Bishop Brzezinski to reopen. While plans have been underway for a while, it has become very clear, especially after receiving the guidelines last night, that it will take a good amount of time to have everything in place and to have volunteers and staff trained in the proper procedures, as well as in the process of disinfecting the church between every Mass. So while Bishop Brzezinski said that we could open this weekend as long as all the procedures are in place, it's very clear that we are not going to be able to do that here at St. Thomas. Perhaps some smaller parishes can, who have fewer Masses, but we simply need more time to pull things together. Therefore, we will resume the celebration of Mass here at St. Thomas on Saturday, May 30th at 4 p.m. with our celebration of the Solemnity of Pentecost, which is the birthday of the Church, and we will follow our regular Mass schedule. Now, the regulations state that we are limited to 40% capacity. So for our 4 p.m. Mass on Saturday and our 8 a.m. Mass on Sunday, we will have an additional overflow Mass in the school gymnasium. Unfortunately, if we reach capacity, we will not be allowed to let anyone else enter. I do want to give you a heads up on some of the changes to our worship for the foreseeable future. These changes come from the diocese, and many of them we had already implemented prior to the shutdown. First is the omission of the sign of peace at Mass, which is an option anyway. No communion by the cup, and we can distribute communion in the hand only. Also, holy water fonts will still be missing, and social distancing, 6-foot minimum, needs to be abided by at all times, both inside the church and outside the church. Everyone needs to wear a mask, and they need to put them on before they leave their vehicle, and there are a few exceptions. Children under 2 should not wear a mask, and parents should judge for children between the ages of 2 and 5 whether they should wear a mask. All people who claim an exemption because of health can forego wearing a mask, and they don't need to give us any documentation to prove that. The priest and others with him in the sanctuary do not need to wear a mask in the sanctuary as long as social distancing is maintained, but they do need to wear a mask when assisting with the distribution of Holy Communion. One thing we are going to ask you to do, we will have some available, but if you could please bring your own hand sanitizer. If you have a little bottle, that would help greatly. Additionally, the restroom will be available for emergencies only. The sacristy, the sanctuary, the usher's room, and the confessional will be strictly off limits. Finally, there has been no shortage of suggestions from folks on how we should go about this. Now, while I know any suggestion is well-meaning, we have been given a very detailed, strict, and all-encompassing set of guidelines to which we must strictly adhere. So we thank you for that advice, but we do have a blueprint to follow. As we get closer to reopening, we will give you updates on all the things to expect. In the meantime, let us continue to pray for one another, and let us all pray for the patience that the coming weeks are going to require of all of us. Again, I look forward to seeing you soon. God bless.